as an immigrant, you might think you need a US education to be able to secure a good job in the United States. But guess what? I got a job.
Wow! Finally!
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Finally,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has happened. It has happened. So happy.
So glad for you, man. My brother, I'm glad for you. I'm so excited, man. This is good news, man. This
Thanks,
is good
thanks,
news.
thanks.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, bruh.
Yeah, about
It's
a
been a long time
year.
coming.
About 1 year.
Wow.
Like there are definitely several obstacles, several challenges
Okay.
that you have to overcome. But I think that one of the things that I have strength in is in asking for help, asking
Okay.
questions,
Okay.
trying to understand culture, trying because everything. I would say that most of the wins that you're gonna get is probably gonna be from understanding culture and being patient and with people when people say something, not being afraid to ask questions that might it might even sound stupid to you, but just always ask questions, and not just while looking for the job, but also with friends, with people that I was introduced to, several things. It definitely took a lot, but for me, it was a huge learning process, and I'm still learning. It took a while to get the job, but when the job came, it was pretty straightforward. I didn't have to jump
Yeah.
through any hoops or anything like that. In the beginning, like it was almost like I have to know this, I have to know that, I have to
Mm-hmm.
speak a certain way, I have to do all this kind of things. But I guess like a lot of the experiences that I have had from just interacting with people has really helped me a lot. So
Oh,
this
good.
came very, very, very easy. And guess what?
Shoot, please.
Um, I would say that one of the reasons that I got the job is because of you. So,
Hold on, hold on. Me, wow, wow, wow. How does that
yes,
make me
yes,
feel right now? Me, please.
yes.
What contribution did I make? Because this is weird.
I remember I mentioned earlier that I'm one of my strengths is basically asking questions, trying to understand people, how things are working,
Yeah.
and it's for me it's not just restricted to people who have experience, but even someone that doesn't have a lot of experience. As far as I can learn from
Hold on,
them,
hold on, hold on. I hope you're not referring to me like I don't have a lot of experience. What do you mean by that?
you don't have as much experience in the US like I do. So,
Ah, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Come on, man. No wala. Let me add
so
that in. Let me take it back home. No wala. Just
but but definitely and it didn't really matter really as long as that is
no,
concerned. Like I was able
but it's
to.
funny you're saying that. It's funny you're saying that because I'm here. Yeah, I'm still in the job market. You just announced that you got a job, and yeah, I contributed to it. But bro, you gotta pay, man. You gotta pay agency, you know. So, but let me know what I contributed because if I don't know because I'm working, and I didn't know I was contributing. Like, man, guy, what's up? Gotta pay agency. You know
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
is.
it was a good one. But basically, I when I moved here, I had my I had European experience and everything. So
Yep, yep.
I
I know
was
that.
I tried to get my CV all set up and just for it to be like the American way. So I tried to prepare my profile on LinkedIn as the best I can. Then on my CV, in the US, it's a completely different way of writing CV. So I had to learn that, keep refining my CV. My CV is still not the best, but but I kept refining, kept updating, kept improving on my CV. Um, Definitely took a lot of work. But then when you moved and you got here, you of course we talked and everything, but you also started putting your CV, your resume on
Yep.
job websites or job boards rather. One of those job boards or job sites is Indeed that you told me about, and I remember
Okay.
you had said that that like when you posted your resume, I think maybe like 1 week or 2 weeks later, you already got some invites from some people or something like that, or at least
Yep.
some
Yep.
some
Yep.
employers had already
I was getting
contacted you.
feedback. So yes, unlike
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Indeed, you can get employers can contact you from, just like LinkedIn. I did get some. I've got some interviews on LinkedIn just by, employers or recruiters checking my LinkedIn profile and reaching out to me.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
one of the last one I got, reached out to me to confirm if I was in the US because most of my friends, is in Nigeria. So when he
Yeah.
did ask, I said, yeah, I'm in the US, and I explained, I'm around, the DC, Baltimore area. So then we took the discussion of them. I think I did the first stage, but I'm still waiting to get the feedback for the second stage. You know,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, indeed, you get emails, you get interest, and you can just keep applying. Some can get directly contact you and ask you
Yeah.
to fix a date and move forward. But what was your experience?
Yeah. So I signed up on Indeed when you told me about that,
This is
and
after we had spoken. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So when I saw, oh well, if you can get like interview like a couple of weeks after arriving here, then I should be able to get some. That's basically the
yeah,
mentality I had. I'm like, and
yeah.
that's what I was able to learn from our
Hmm.
discussion that we had. So I basically, put up my CV, polish again, still kept polishing my CV, set up my profile to be very, very complete, and then I started applying. I actually got like a couple of invites on Indeed. For me personally, I was interested in full time job. There
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a lot of people that contacted me for part time job or no or contract jobs. Eventually, like that, I still listen to them. I still interviewed for some of those positions, but my preference was always to get like full time job.
Absolutely.
So at some point, I think it did started like um, because I was looking for something that would primarily require like front end engineering skills. But I realized that Indeed wasn't really sending me jobs in that area. They will be sending me jobs in every other aspect of software development, but the ones, but the one that maybe out of 100 messages that they will, 100 jobs like rather that they will send, maybe 2 or 3 will be front end engineering.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I
what are
have
these
the I have
guys
the same
doing?
problem. I still get the same issues. They keep sending me jobs that are not in the line of what I'm pursuing. So yeah, I get
Exactly.
that
I think
too.
that something is messing up their algorithm, so they just definitely need to fix it. But anyways, so I never really used Indeed that much. I use LinkedIn a lot, because you can do some filters on LinkedIn and
Yeah,
you will get jobs. It might not, it's not perfect, but you will definitely get like job alerts. Something that I
yeah,
noticed
yeah,
about
yeah,
LinkedIn,
yeah.
yeah, with LinkedIn is that like at some point like it's the people that are applying for the jobs are so much on LinkedIn that it is difficult to get interviews. I'm gonna guess probably it's everywhere like that, but LinkedIn actually shows you the number. Literally, they will post a job 1 hour later, 2 hours later, go and check the job. They will say over 200 applicants. Like,
Okay. Oh man, that thing kind of frustrates me sometimes. Then you become, all of a sudden I'm uncertain whether to apply. I'm like 200 applicants, 400 applicants,
exactly, exactly,
98 applicants. I'm like, what are my chances? I'm thinking, what are my chances? But
exactly.
sometimes you have to decide whether to just keep throwing every and anything into the bucket, right? And
Yeah,
maybe something will catch.
yeah,
But sometimes I feel like I need to kind of refine, kind of sift, where I'm applying to and what I'm applying for.
yeah.
But yeah, I hear you on that because I see that a lot from time to time and kind of scares me. Personally, it kind of just throws me off. I'm like, man, you know what?
Yeah, it's definitely
I
discouraging.
just kind of
But to be
move
honest,
on.
at some point, I started getting discouraged about the numbers, but I still apply just because my service to my
Yep.
system is already set up anyway. I just push the apply button.
Just yeah,
Sometimes
throw it
the
in there.
ones that they would direct you. So I say for the ones that they will direct you to their website, I started sieving those, filtering those ones out because for some of them it's just too many. I would say that unnecessary questions that they ask you on their website and processes that you have to go through. If you have to fill in an application, for me anyway, if you have to fill in an application for like hours, I don't think that's a good process for anyone. So I try to look for the ones that I know that when you get to those websites, if you have experience with it, usually they are it's a company that's providing those services for those company. So those familiar companies, once I know how the process is. Sometimes my CV is there, I just put in my information, all those things, and this process is not very good. But for some of them, the process is just terrible. So I just when I get there, if I can't really complete the application in like 1 hour, I'm done. I'm just moving on.
Yeah, I
So
understand that.
yeah,
But
so
so
it
back to
was.
what you said,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to know how I contributed. Now you mentioned
Yeah,
that I introduced you to
yeah,
Indeed in our conversation.
yeah,
So what happened thereafter?
yeah. So I was just doing my own thing, still continuing to apply, speaking with people. Then got an email from like you get an email just like
Yeah,
you get
just
an
like
email about
yeah.
an invitation for a job. I got an email about an invitation for a job. I checked the email, and this is one of the things. The ones that, in my experience, the jobs that has the fastest process, the interview process that are usually very fast, is when someone from the company directly contacts you. When
Yep.
it involves like a recruitment agency or a recruiter, it's usually very long. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might be lucky, it might be short, but like it's usually very long for whatever reason. So I saw that like the person was working in the company, and actually was the one that I was actually hiring for the position. So I just I replied, and then we started. That's how we started the conversation about setting up an interview. It was just one of those things that I've had. So I've been connected, writing applications for so long that I didn't think much of it. But like the interview process was going on, I tried to be as professional as possible with all my responses, with all my communication. So he then they invited me for an interview, for a first interview, which was online, which I met with him and his colleague, and it was just a really good session, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But for me, it was more about learning about the company. So I asked a lot of questions during that interview. Probably that was the interview that asked the most questions compared to all of my other interview. So usually, like the other interviews, like they ask me more questions, and then they usually leave
Mm-hmm.
like a small window for me to ask questions. But for this one, I was able to. They give me a lot of time to be able to understand what they're doing, how I'll be working if I get in there, how they already work, those kind of things, their values, even talking about like how do you deal with high workloads and things like that. Those are and they were really I got really really good responses, even just trying to understand how they themselves have grown over time in the same company. So that those were really really good responses, and I really like that. So that was it. And then I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks later, a week later, or something like that, I got another response that they would like to have like an in-person interview with me at their office in Seattle. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'd like to come. So they invited me over. I went there. It was in December, and it was one of the days that I think there was a winter storm that had just started or just ended. I think it was just going to start. And if there's like snow in Seattle, like it's not nice. People can
No.
you can barely walk on the road.
Wow.
It's not nice.
I'm
So
still not, sorry to cut you, talking of snow, right? Wale, I still not seen snow like I want to, really. Like, the snow angel thing, right? I am still waiting for snow in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm still waiting for snow because I want to do the snow angel. I
yeah,
don't know what's happening, man. It's
you might
just, it's
have
like
to
sprinkles.
you might have to go outside the city. So usually what happens is like because the city is so concentrated, the at least from my understanding anyway, I might be wrong. the amount of heat that is generated doesn't help with the kind of environment to keep this on, unless like the city is there's a way the geography is that no matter how what, like there will always be a lot of snow. But like if you don't have like that kind of geography, I don't remember how exactly it's supposed to look like, but if you don't have it, like you hardly get any snow. So what I did, or what we did, go on a trip to those places where there's a lot of snow, and then that's where I had my first snowman. When I built my first snow, I went on a
Oh,
trip.
nice, nice. Maybe next winter, because if not, if I mean, next winter, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to the Kola region so I can do my snow angel, make a record of it. I've always had that in mind that, hey, I'm going to do this sometime, someday. I need to do it. I'm now in the US, still I'm unable to do it. But anyways, moving on.
Yeah, so well, for me, it was just like if I also it was the first time I was driving in that kind of like snowish because it wasn't heavy. It was just like I was first time
Okay.
driving, so I was I just wanted to experience it, just to know that I would know how to drive. So I drove carefully and everything. But anyway, moving on. I got there, uh, met with the team. It was pretty straightforward. We started the interview. It was so I met with the team first, and then I kind of speak with the team to kind of understand how they're working, what their experiences are, and they also ask me questions and wanted to understand where I'm coming from and my own history. So that was pretty much like a cultural interview, the first part. Then the second part was another technical session. So that was with two of the guys there, and so they basically gave me a problem to solve, and they gave me a laptop which I was able to walk through. I was also interested in just going through the problem, trying to get information from sometimes like I'll ask a question that it will lead me to the answer, but they can't just give me the answer. I have to be able to look for other solutions to get there. So, which was really interesting, like seeing how I'm asking questions, how I'm trying to find solutions and everything. So it was really good. I met with them. It was pretty nice. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary or strange. So I'm like, this is a really good team. I would like to work with them. It's a small team, but like they have like the company is a 20-year-old company, so they have a lot of experience, and they have their work practice or their culture is pretty much standardized. So for me, I felt very comfortable understanding all those things. So I went home, and that was it. So then but throughout the last few weeks of the month, they were communicating with me that they're making a decision, blah blah. So for me, that was one of the things that gave me like a good sign. Even well, it gave me a good sign, but sometimes it might not be so good. But like, but this one, at least they were communicating with me. So eventually, like a couple of weeks later, they said they were able to come back and make a decision, and then they sent me an offer. So yeah, so because I spoke with you,
Congrats.
you got like
Congrats.
positive responses on Indeed. I signed up on Indeed. That's just it. That's the only reason why I signed up on Indeed. I signed up on Indeed,
I'm
and I
happy
got
to
the job.
hear this. I'm happy that I contributed to it. But no jokes, man. Send me my commission. I ain't playing with you, bro. Send me my fees. There's a fee. I did a lot of I did a lot of consultancy, a lot of consultancy jobs. Great, while back home in Nigeria, like a middleman, creating linking buyers and sellers in a lot of things. Back then. So, bro, I did somehow create this link. I did create the link, so send me my cut. When you get your first paycheck, send me my cut. Awesome. But I'm happy to hear this. I'm happy that you recognize
Thanks.
that, and just acknowledging. It's very encouraging for me as well to feel like,
Thanks.
wow, did contribute to your success, and I hope I'll also be able to come here and share about the same thing. But just so FYI, I have an interview one of the big um, financial industry company here in the US. I'm moving on to the second stage. I have a case interview. Um, I'm hoping for the best. But guess what? On the flips, just like you said, they you when we spoke and I talked about Indeed. Now you mentioned that you registered on Indeed after our
Mhm.
conversation. I also registered on Hired. And you told me
Mm,
about Hired. In short,
yeah,
if you remember, you sent me a referral link on
yeah,
Hired.
yeah.
And I signed up. And so far, it's been a couple of weeks. So far, the this financial company, it's it's a big financial company here in the US, right? Financial organization. They reached out to me from Hired. So far, they're the only organization that have reached out to me from Hired. Saw my
Yeah.
CV on Hired. Set up a phone interview, set up moved me and sent me. After waiting during the first interview, I waited and and finally got back to me and say, hey, we're setting up a case interview, second stage. I think they mentioned they have, I don't know, 3 or 4 stages, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm just saying, hey, I hope I also be able to say, Wale, your impact did help me get this job. I hope so. So fingers crossed, I will give you the feedback
That would be
and I'll let
crazy,
you know.
but
It
that
will
would
be
be
crazy.
crazy.
It will be crazy if like I hope, like, fingers crossed. I'd like us to tell the story, like how we both influenced each other to be able to land a job. I mean, that
Yes,
would be like the hook of the year, man.
that would be amazing. But
Yeah,
in
but yeah,
closing, like,
fingers crossed.
yeah, in closing, I want to speak about, you might think that you need like a US education to be able to get a job in the US, a good job anyway. But in my experience, and it's one of the reasons why I was able to also move to Europe. It's
Yeah,
a lot of companies are looking for skills in STEM. STEM, basically science, technology, engineering, and maths. If you're very good in any of those aspects, you will be able to get a good job. And of course, like, well, when so for some countries, if you don't speak the language, you probably have to learn the language first, depending on the
yep,
whatever job that you want to do. But generally speaking, like, if you have skills in STEM, if you're moving to an English speaking country, you're from Nigeria, you'll be able to get a job, because every company needs these kind of employees. Um, so at least that's my testimony, and that's the experience that I've had so far. I've worked. This is the fourth country that I'm working in like 7 years, and I didn't have to study anything extra besides what I already did coming from Nigeria. So I
that's
just
good to know.
I try to be as diligent as possible with knowing what I need to know, and knowing the new things that's going on in my field, so that I can actually talk about those things in my interview. One of the interesting things also is that I just try to do everything that will put me in a better position, compared to like all the other person that is trying to apply for the job. One of the things that also that helped with this job is that they saw one of my videos where I was actually doing a presentation for one of the skills for the position that they were hiring me for. So if you see an opportunity to do that, and interestingly, for that kind of presentation, usually people get paid. I never get paid for that. I never got paid for that. So now, in some ways, I'm getting rewarded,
Yeah, reward for
just
it.
because I
So
put
that's
myself
that's
out there. So
yeah, that's so
um,
important. That's so
yeah, so
important.
definitely, if you have the skills, you most likely be able to get something. I have stories of other people, not just me, but other friends, that moved to Canada, but not the US, but at least people that I know directly, they didn't have to study in Canada before they were able to get a job. So
A good job.
a good job, yeah, exactly, like a good job at that. So definitely, it's possible, and I we will try to leave some resources for example, the websites that we've spoken about. We'll leave links
Yep.
below. For some of those links, they basically affiliate links. So if you sign up through those links and you're able to get a job through those links, they will get some money to support our channel from it. But yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you,
Any
Wally.
last thing you want to say?
Thank you so much. That's so impressive, and I'm so happy for you. Congrats again. Hopefully, I'll get a piece of the first check, and all the best. So, wish
No,
me
no,
wish
no,
wish
don't
me
worry.
well in my coming interview.
Of course, of course. I'll buy you pepper soup. Don't worry.
Nice one. All right then. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice one.
Yes. Thank you.